In this video, I'm going to show you how to make basic shape animations using the transform option, and it's very easy. Hey, what's up guys, it's Tamid Rahman, and today I'm going to teach you on how to do the basic animation in After Effects using the transform options. We'll be learning things like scaling, positioning, and other stuff like that. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So at first, what I'll do is go to my new composition and create a new file where I'll have my width and height as 1920 and 1080, and my frame rate would be set to 60 FPS because I like my animations very smooth, and we won't worry about the duration much. So go ahead and press OK. So we have this black screen over here. Keep that in mind that this black screen, don't assume that it's a black solid over here. You have nothing over here, and now it's this onion skin. So we have to put a background layer over here. So we're gonna go to layer, new, solid, and yeah, 1920 into 1080 pixels, and then I'll go over here, and this is my color that I'm using for my background. You can copy it if you want to. Press OK. So there you go. You have your background layer. So we won't be working with the background at all. So I want to have my layer locked. So how do you have your layer locked? Over here, so you come to the layer panel, you see this lock sign, just put this like this and it won't move at all. Alright, so as you can see over here, we have the time panel where we are going to work on our time frame animation. So you'll be needing this a lot, almost all the time, I mean. So at first, now what we're going to do is create a shape. As you can see that we have the toolbar over here where we have a lot of tools. For now, we're just going to use this shape tool. Just if you press and left click and press and hold it, you can see that you have a few more options. I'm going to select ellipse tool, and my fill color would be this. Press OK, choose your fill color, and then come over here, hold shift and press your left mouse button and hold it as well, and see, that's how you actually make a circle. So after this, if you click the shape layer, you can see that my anchor point is not in the center. So you can have your anchor point wherever you want to, and I'll have it in the center. So how do I take it to the center? Beside the shape options, you can see that there is a tool called a band behind anchor point. I'm going to select that, click my left mouse on it and drag it all the way to my shape, and then press Ctrl to specifically determine the center point of the circle using the smart guides. So if you can move it around and put it here, or an example over here. So I want to put it in the center, dead center. Alright, so we're gonna use the selection tool again. So I want to align this vertically right now. For aligning, I have this aligning panel over here. If you don't have it, you can go to the window and always get it from here. So I want to align it vertically, so I'll just press this one, and you can see that it's vertical aligned. Okay, so let's begin working on our animation. So the first thing first, we're going to resize the shape from a small circle to a big one, as you guys saw in the video. So we're gonna go to transform over here. By the way, if you haven't still went to this, you just click on the shape layer over here, this arrow mark, and it gives you a drop down menu where you can choose contents and other stuff. I'm just gonna go to transform. This is what we're going to work with today: anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. So as I said, that we would be working on scaling this object at first. You can see that the scale is over here with the percentage. If I increase it, it increases. If I decrease it, the size goes down. Control Z, undo this. And we have a stopwatch over here which lets us produce our keyframes. So what is a keyframe? Basically, if I reduce my percentage size over here and then put a keyframe and then go over here and change it to another size, you have your animation. scaling up. So that's why we use the keyframe all the time, and you'll be needing the transform option a lot when you use the After Effects, especially for animation. Alright, so we're going to increase the size of this circle 20%. You can either type it in or left click on this and keep on dragging this until it goes down. And then after that, I'm going to put the stopwatch over here, and you can zoom in to your timeline a bit more. So I'm going to come over at 40 frames and then put this back to 100. So go back and play the animation using the spacebar. So congratulations, there you go. You have your first animation. Alright, so after this, we're going to add a bit more spices to the animation. So what do I mean by that? So if we select these two frames and go to the graph editor, you can see that this is basically a velocity time graph. No need to be scared of this. This is just a basic thing. So as you can see, this is a constant line, which means that it has a constant speed of changing its scaling with the time. So I don't want it to be constant, because constant, it doesn't seem like much. It's not like animations that you see. So what I'm going to do is select both of these again using my mouse and click F9 for easy ease. So basically this easy ease thing changes your graph from the speed of the graph from a straight line to a curve. So let's have a look at our graph right now. See, it's a curve. So basically this is the maximum speed it goes to in 20 frames, and then decelerates and goes back to 0. So let's have a look at the animation right now. See, a lot smoother, looks really good. So if you undo this, easy ease, and have a look at the animation now, see, you can feel the difference. Anyway, so I'm going to turn my easy ease on with F9, and after that I'll do one more thing. So I'll select these two frames again, come over here, and as you can see, there's the starting line and the end line for the graph. So I'm going to select the end point, and after you click it, you'll see this handle appearing. So I'm going to select this point, click it and drag it. Use shift, press and hold shift, and drag it all the way to the left. So what I did right now is that I changed my maximum speed from 20 frames per second. Sorry, 20 frames, from 20 frames to somewhere over here, like 8 frames, I guess. So go back from the graph editor. Let's have a look at it now. So as you can see, it's like speeds up really fast, and then it deaccelerates, slowly scales up very fast in like the first 8 frames, and then it goes down. So it looks much more better, right, compared to what we made in our first go. Alright, so this was our first thing. The second thing we'll be working on is the position. So how do we work on the position? Is basically the same way, but the position works with the x-axis and y-axis. As you know, the scale works with height and width. So let's have a look at the position. I'm gonna put the stopwatch over here, start it, come over here again at 40 frames, and then from here I want to shift it over here. I don't want this circle to be here anymore. So I simply either click it with my left mouse and drag it to the right. So I'm gonna use shift so that I can drag it in a straight way instead of going a bit inclined, in an inclined way. So I want a straight line. So ta-da! So now let's have a look at it. Or you can either see the axis over here. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So you can change those. I won't want to change my y-axis right now, so just mess with the x. See? Alright. So we're going to do the same thing with this. Press F9 for easy ease, go to the graph, drag this handle all the way to the left, and now let's have a look at it. Pretty cool, right? So it's doing two things together right now, scaling up and positioning from left to the right. So the next thing that I want to show is a bonus part of this tutorial, which is morphing. Morphing is very, I won't say it's very advanced, but it's easy to use if you understand it, but it's a bit tricky. So what I want to do is make a new shape. Make sure that your shape layer is not selected while you do this. If it's selected, make sure it's unselected. And then come over here and then come to the ellipse tool, change it from rectangle, press shift because I want a square, hold shift with the left mouse, create a square. There you go, you have your square. It doesn't have to be the accurate size, just precise. And after I have made my square over here, I'll change my anchor point from here again. As you can see, the pan behind, I use this, go over here, hold shift, control, and it's aligned again. So from here, notice what I do. I go to my contents over here, rectangle 1, and in the rectangle path, I will right click on over here and convert to Bezier path. So Bezier path it is. We're going to convert it, and it changes to path 1 from rectangular path. So what it does basically, it has the properties to this path now. So I can use this keyframe of this path and paste it in another layer's path, for an example, to convert from the one shape to this. So you might have a hard time understanding this, but I'm gonna show it to you so you understand it better. So I'm just gonna put the stopwatch. We have this property value over here in the keyframe. We're just gonna copy it, and we're going to hide the layer now because we don't need it, and then use the drop down thing again to minimize it, and then come over shape layer 1, open this up, and then you have to do the same thing. Go to ellipse 1, then go to ellipse path, right click, convert to Bezier path, and path 1. So as you can see, I have the path thing here as well. I'll go to the very first place, set a keyframe over here for the path, come all the way here. I'm going to paste the new one. So as you can see that we actually have this square, like the circle turned into a square, but it's over there. So you have to no need to be afraid of that. So we're just going to use the selection tool to bring it all the way back to your composition. But I want to align it the same way as it is. For an example, if I view it right now, it's something like this. But the morphing worked, so it's changing from a circle to a square. That's pretty sick, but I want it to be like aligned in the vertical axis. So let's get into it. So if you notice, I select the shape layer. My anchor point isn't in the center anymore because the anchor point was based for the circle, but now my shape changed. So how do I have my anchor point here for the rectangles? It's pretty easy. Let's go back to the transform option, and as you can see that the anchor point is over here. We're going to click on the anchor point, but not in this frame. We're going to go to 0 number of frames and click on the anchor point over here and come back over here. So over here, I'm gonna select my pan behind again, change my anchor point to this. Perfect. So now what I can do is take my selection tool back. So now what I can do is come to align and do the vertical align, because your anchor point determines where your aligning is supposed to be at. So if it was over there, it wouldn't have been in the perfect aligning. So why did we use the keyframe for the anchor point? It's easy. You have your circle over here and you have the anchor point in the center. You have your rectangle, a square over here, and you have your anchor point in the center. So that's why it changes its anchor point's coordinates based on your shape. So that's why you're using the anchor point frames. I'm going to change this from the normal to easy ease using F9. Go to the graph editor, same way. Going to make it like this. And now let's have a look at the animation. Oh, before that, what am I missing? Oh yeah, so we have the path as well. We're going to change the path from that to F9. Come here and drag this like that. So now let's have a look at our animation. Pretty sick, right? I actually want the rectangle, the square I mean, a bit over here. Yep. Okay. Alright, perfect. So the next work that I'll be doing is rotating this circle. Sorry, oh my god. I'll be rotating this square. So my rotation won't start right away because I want it to be static for a while before it goes back to motion. So I'm gonna take a 10 frames gap, come to 50 frames over here, and after I come over here, I'm going to add a stopwatch for my rotation layer. So after I do that, simply I'm going to go 40 frames ahead. So 10, 10, 10, 10. So come over here and then I'll rotate this thing something around like minus 265, I guess. Yeah, so it's basically spinning. If you try it with this, you can also check that it's spinning. So yeah, minus 265. And the same thing I'll do for it. Press F9 for easies, come over here and shift. Perfect. So let's have a look at our animation. As you can see, that came over here to a square and then rotated. Actually, I think I'm going to increase this because it was very fast. Minus 169 probably. Yeah, looks better to me. So after this, we are done with the rotation as well, but let's add a bit of more to it. So after this is done, I'm going to rotate it all the way back again because it was like rotating, as you can see, it was rotating anti-clockwise. Now I want to rotate it a bit to the clockwise and fix its point. So what I mean is basically I'll come over, I'll take a 30 frames gap, 10, 20 and 30. Oops, 10, 20, 30, my bad. Yeah, so I'll come over here and then change the rotation from minus 169 to something like this. So minus 135. Alright, so if you go over here, your graph, you have to change this again. But this time I won't have it like this because I'll tell you in a while. Because if you notice the animation, so it changes, right, from here to all the way back here. I don't want it to go speed up at first and then decrease it. I want it to decrease and then speed up in the last. So have a like a, I don't know, braking kind of vibes. So I'm gonna come over here again, change this, just take this handle instead this time. Oh, make sure you're pressing C, hold it so it's always straight, don't go down here or something, you mess up the animation. So do it like this. Let's have a look at it. Perfect. See, it's like a break, like that. Alright, so after we're done with this, you can notice that we're almost done with all of the part of our transform. The next thing we're going to work on is with the opacity. So for the opacity, it will be just a normal thing. For at first, I'll take a 40 frames gap again, or come over here. Oh, sorry, I forgot to set the frame. Set your frame opacity. Make sure it's in 100%. Come to 40 frames. Increase all the way to 0. And then do the same thing. F9. I won't do the easies for this. So as you can see, the opacity decreases, and I want a bit of motion with this. So I'll come over here to the position. Now I want to move this thing, this shape from here to here. So how do I do that? Do I add a frame over in the end? No, we don't. Because if we do that, for an example, like this, you'll notice that it's always moving while the other motions are going on. So it's overlapping your other actions as well. So what I'll do over here is that I want it to move from start moving from here. So I'm gonna put the position keyframe here again. So you don't notice that I'm not pressing the stopwatch right now because it's already activated. So I'm coming over here to the left and add a remove keyframe at current time. So it basically adds a keyframe to what your current position and time, like everything is. So after that, I'm gonna go back to the 40 frames, and you can see that then this opacity is going all the way down. Actually, I'll set the opacity to 25, and the position is going to be 40, but in the center. So you can use this, align horizontally. So we'll have something like this. So why did I have this before? Why is it ending before? Because I usually, when I have the opacity going down all the way with the position, it kind of looks odd to me. See, kind of looks odd. So I just put it in the 25, so it goes right before hitting the center. That's how I like it. And for the position, I'm going to just, oh yeah, sorry, let's adjust it. So let's go all the way back and check our animation. Oh, I forgot to add one more thing over here. So as you can see that we are stopping here, so we're gonna take another 10 frames gap. So instead of moving all of those here, what I'll just do is simply take these two, come over 10 frames for the position, okay? Just drag it here. I'm gonna do the same for the opacity, don't worry. And I'm gonna take it, just put it here simply, and everything's fine. So we'll have a 10 frames break so that you can get the time to notice this. And then now let's have a look at it. See, if you want, you can put the timing more for it to stop. So that's it. But before ending, there is one more thing you can add. I'm going to delete this layer, which is basically called motion blur, which makes it look more realistic by adding this blur while it's moving. So if you notice, like, there is a bit of blur that works while the motion happens, so it gives it a bit more realistic feeling. If you notice closely, you can see that the motion blur is working. So yeah, that's it for today. Hope to see you guys soon, and if you guys have any kind of queries, you can comment down in this comment section below. And if you guys want any other source of tutorial, you can comment those as well. I will try my best to make those for you guys. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.